Today, Cheesehead TV brings you two guys who like to think they know something about football.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Packer Transplants Live.
Oh my goodness!
And I do stress
what is happening
live. I am here
crap.
with my partner here at Cheesehead TV. I'm Aaron Nagler. This is Mr. Corey Banke. We're coming to you live, and I stress again, live from the Live X Studios in Manhattan. Corey Banke, why don't you tell me what is on tap this afternoon?
Today we're gonna break down the Packers off season. Who cares?
They had one?
They had one, and get ready for the opener against the Bears. So right now it's time for the good.
It's time?
The bad and the ugly. We got the good. We got
Getting through camp relatively healthy.
the bad. We got
Khalil Mack traded in the division.
and we got the ugly. We got
The Bears
still suck. Oh no.
Banke, we're back.
Oh my goodness. It only took 2.5 years. Different studio.
Different studio. We're very much older, wiser, better for it.
Maybe. I don't know about
No,
that.
here I only have one question for you. Before we begin, we have a script, but we're already going to go
100
off
seasons?
of it. 100 seasons.
100 seasons?
Corey Banke repping the 100 seasons.
The 100th season of the Green Bay Packers.
Okay. I got to ask you this question. Before we start, I'm going off script already. So what I got to ask you. Did you pay attention at all this offseason?
What happened?
Exactly. So, any new viewers out there who may or may not know this show? I know there are a couple people on Twitter chiming in. Oh, what's this?
What's this show?
People seem really excited about it. A very limited number of people, but a few people seem happy that it's returning. What is this thing? Let me check it out. Let's just dispel any rumors here. Corey doesn't pay attention at all in the offseason.
Let me tell you this,
Let's just
Batman.
make sure everyone knows this.
Riddle me this, Batman.
Okay, this should be
What did we actually learn this offseason?
Well, we learned there were transactions, there were people let go, there were
Great.
people brought on
Great.
board.
Great. The biggest thing we
People
learned,
were injured.
the biggest
people were
thing
not
we
injured.
learned this offseason
What's that?
is that our tight ends and our offense is going to be awesome.
There you go. There
Okay?
You go. There you go.
That's what we learned.
There you go. There's a little
But
optimism.
8 wide receiver BS and Kumaro doing a somersault in the there were some good things. But I can't. That last game, I can't even watch the last game.
I know, but look at, wait, whoa.
I know this guy Tanyan did a good thing. I'm like, oh, that's great. That's great.
This guy Tanyan did
Whatever.
a good thing.
He had some touchdowns.
Right.
Is that ever going to happen this season? Maybe.
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 You never know.
Maybe on Sunday.
Yeah. We'll never know. Okay, here's my thing. I love that you brought up Kumaro. Because that's how big the Kumaro story was, right? And it wasn't even that big.
It was
wasn't that big a deal.
huge.
But Corey Banke knew about it. That's how big it was. Corey, I never pay attention in the offseason. Banke knew about Jake
I watched
Kumaro.
that game where he had I watched the preseason game
the
with you.
Steelers game.
Yeah, it was great.
It was great.
It was fun for a quarter. And then it was
But hey,
over.
wait. But you were dismissive of the last preseason game, and I get it. It is unwatchable for someone like yourself who is very all in on the regular season.
They're all
the fortunes of the team, etc. But hey, that's where this kid Crawford, that's where he won a job because of his special teams performance in that game, that particular game.
That's great.
Put him over the top and put him on a team.
Here's the craziness, though, about
Right.
preseason, okay?
Right.
You spend all this time, right? We do a microcosm. It's the first day of camp. We were there, right?
Yeah, we
we
were.
were there getting shut down by some people, and that was fun. So
We'll get there.
we're there.
A lot of ball game left, Banke.
We're there on training camp.
Right.
We're having a good time, and
Yep.
everybody's all excited because it feels like it's football season, right?
Yep.
It's the biggest tease in the world, okay? Because here's the craziness, right?
Right.
There's this narrative thread that's happening in 32 teams.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
On other teams, this narrative that we missed, right? So
Right.
now we got guys on our team,
Right.
who we missed their whole preseason narrative. We don't know anything about them.
I see it.
Right?
I feel you.
So it's like you spend all this time with guys that ultimately.
Oh yeah, 1,000,000,000%. You have all these and plus when you're on the beat, now I'm gonna throw that at you.
Oh, there you go.
When you're on the beat, Mr. Banke, allow me to.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Learned
by the way.
you some.
You're
things
welcome. You're
here.
welcome, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. But when you are on the beat, you talk to the same dudes and you write the same stories and you talk about the same stuff on your podcast week after week after week. It's always Rodgers did this. He's amazing. He's dragging this team along. Oh, Dom Capers screwed up. A decade of that. You live for preseason because you're dealing with guys who
Yeah, totally.
you know you're not going to write about for the rest of the year. you know you're not going to talk to for the most part during the week. Like, it's just it's that time. It's the time for those guys to dig in, find out who they are, whether they're going to make the team or not. It's like there's some great stories there. So the beat gloms onto those guys because, you know, it's something different.
I hear you.
So, but I understand.
The beat. The beat. But it's crazy because how many questions you get about guys that basically aren't on the team anymore?
Oh, that's, you know, and you and I used to go round and round about this, but I've come around to your way of thinking. Like, over the last, 2 or 3 years, it's this idea that it's such hyper kind of intense scrutiny of the fourth tight end position. Like, dudes, if the fourth tight end is contributing in any meaningful way down the stretch this season,
something's wrong.
They're in trouble. All right? They're, like, the Millennium Falcon's hyperdrive is broken. They're in the asteroid trying to fix it at that point, right? And that doesn't mean that they can't be successful doing
So last
that.
season, basically.
Right. Or the last, 5, 6 seasons. Should we get back on script?
Oh yeah, because I think our graphics operator's gonna.
We have. Okay, here's the crazy thing. Here's the crazy
We have staff.
thing.
We actually have cameras,
it
but
used to
Aubrey's
be-
gonna kill me if I go to the MCR camera.
It used to be that it was just you and me sitting in your
switching.
spare room,
I'm switching right now, magically.
in your spare room up in Inwood, the upper West Side, and when things didn't work right before the show, it was just you and I like freaking out. Now we had a whole control room full of people freaking out, so that's good. Well, actually, they probably weren't freaking out.
They weren't freaking out.
They were fine.
They actually don't care.
But that's
They're
an
like-
even better point.
They actually do this professionally, so this is like they're like.
It's like nothing.
What are we doing right now?
Right,
What's going on?
Why are we working with these amateurs?
Exactly.
Okay, so the news. There is some Packer news to talk about, even though you're going to be bored. But we got to do it. Got to eat our vegetables prior to getting to the good stuff. So, number one on our news ticker, so to speak, Josh Jones is the only non-participant in today's practice. Now, because Mr. Banky wants to go at 5 p.m. Eastern, we do not have a injury report for you. So we don't really know what's going on with Josh. But if I had told you prior to the season starting that week 1 Wednesday before the Bears opener, the Packers would have only one guy on their 53-man roster sitting out, I think you would have been pretty pleased.
I would have been pleased.
So
I'll tell you what I'm
pretty
not.
good.
I'll tell you what I'm not pleased about.
Oh, dear.
The 2015 draft. Okay.
we'll get there. Let's
I
stay
know.
on script.
I
Let's
hear
stay
you.
on
I
script.
hear you. It's just that leads into the secondary,
I
which
hear you.
still, again,
A lot of questions.
How many times do we have to enter a season where
Oh,
the secondary and the linebacker core is our weakest link?
Hey, but we don't know what they are right now. Let's let them take a snap or two before we just declare what's the weak link, what isn't.
I'll bet you
let's
$100.
see.
I'll bet you $100. I'll bet you $100 right now on this show live. Okay.
The what? What is it? What, their PFF rating
That
is
out
going to
of-
be low? Like what's the measurement?
That out of seven, yeah, that out of the 7 overall positions, right?
Okay.
Special teams being one of
Whatever.
the 7.
Yeah.
That secondary is the weakest link on Sunday. Tremont Williams notwithstanding.
Okay, so
'Cause he's
your
gonna
boy,
have-
your
'cause
boy
he's-
Tremont is
He's gonna
exempt
have,
from the
he's gonna
Banky
have,
draft.
He's going to have 2 picks.
2 picks.
2 picks.
Wow. I thought predictions were later, but okay.
Okay.
Two
2 picks.
2 picks.
Well,
all right.
16-0, 2 picks, and 100-0.
Exactly.
Oh no, is that even statistically possible?
Of course.
77-0.
All right, whatever you say. The next little item, again, along the lines of health, Oren Burks and James Crawford, both working in pads. Now, Corey Banky, I got to ask you this question. And to complete that, they work in pads, but they did not do team stuff, I believe. Do you know who Oren Burks and James Crawford are?
Yes, I follow Oren Burks on Twitter.
Very good.
James Crawford, no idea. Is he a linebacker?
He's the kid who made it because of the special teams game I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
That's nice.
He was picked up literally the day before the first preseason game.
Gotcha. Oren Burks,
Yeah.
I will say,
He's impressive on social.
He's really impressive on social media, and he had a tweet yesterday that a lot of people were going to be angry about, but I thought was really good. And he was like, look.
Was it about Kaepernick?
It was about Kaepernick, and it was like, hey, instead of burning your Nikes, donate them to charity.
See, what's funny is
I thought
that's a great
that's
sentiment.
good.
Except, like,
some Gatorade.
I saw like 500 people tweet something akin to that, so I think it was a common sentiment. It is a great sentiment, I will say that. Albeit probably unoriginal. And final
No, not original.
piece of little bit of news happened earlier today. I love this. I love it. Bears, Packers, we're back, people. Team Hicks, because, he can't get to Aaron Rodgers. He's very excited. He was talking to the Green Bay media. I was on the call. Thank you. My day back in the beat. Akeem Hicks.
Is our entire show
The
gonna
local
be-
me. Oh, that's all I'm gonna do.
When I was on the beat,
That's all I'm gonna do.
Banky.
That is all I'm doing.
Okay, I gotta have,
but
I
Akeem
have to have
Hicks.
some good comebacks.
Akeem Hicks said point blank, speaking about the Packers' offensive line, throwing up some bulletin board material, said, I know those guys can't block Khalil Mack.
Oh, come on.
He straight up said it, and then he reiterated it later in the call.
If we had $1 for all of the Packer fans on Twitter and the trolls who were so disappointed in the fact that we didn't get Khalil Mack,
Hashtag real fan.
we would be like, we wouldn't be billionaires. We would be right between thousandaires and millionaires.
Thousandaires.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
that's great.
It was like we were about to win the lottery. I don't even
I know. I
It
hear
was
you. I
ridiculous.
hear you. Well,
It was ridiculous.
I understand the disappointment. I do, because Khalil Mack would have been a game changer on the defensive side of the ball. I totally get that. I'm not surprised the Packers didn't go all in and try and wreck their salary cap
No.
to do it.
And the other thing
know?
is, well, the biggest thing about that trade is it doesn't make any sense. If you got somebody who's
It makes
always
perfect sense for the Bears to have a
100%.
rookie on his quarterback on his rookie deal.
they are going to have a terrible season this year, like they always do. Okay, and so if you're looking at two teams
Right.
of the what do you call these? The teens, the aught teens,
ought teams.
the aught teens, right?
Word? Sure.
If you're Wing, if you're John Gruden, right?
Right.
Who's obviously senile, like Bob McGinn,
No.
and some other people.
Quicker than I would have thought.
If you're Wing scales, right?
Right.
You're probably going to pick the Bears as your trading partner
Yeah,
because
yeah, of course you are.
they're likely to have a top 10
Right.
first round pick.
Yeah.
We are not. When's the last time we had, what like 15 was the highest we've picked in the last decade? And
Right. I hear you. No, and I agree. It was funny because I put that on. I had a tweet where someone was asking me about the trade, and I said, and they said, oh, typical low-balling Packers or something like that. And I said, yo, come on. Gutekunst was willing to give up at least one first-round pick. We don't
Probably
know.
two.
We don't know for sure if he offered
think
a second
probably two.
one, but we know he was offering multiple picks, including a first-rounder. He was also willing, by doing so, acknowledging the fact that he was willing to sign Mack to a monster deal.
Yeah.
He was willing to make him because the whole reason this guy became available is because he wanted to be the highest paid defensive player. He was willing to do that, to have not only the highest paid player in the league in Aaron Rodgers, but also turn around and give Khalil Mack a monster
Payday.
contract.
on par with Aaron Rodgers.
And then the Bears came along and said, no, we'll give you all this and we'll pay the guy. So, of course, like you said, the Bears looked, and I put this in the tweet, and I said, Gruden clearly thinks that the Bears are going to be worse than the Packers, which, I'm sorry, I don't think that's an outlandish statement. I think it's pretty close to fact.
No.
And you should have seen the triggered Bears fans
Yeah.
in my mentions.
Well, you know,
Look,
look,
I wasn't even ripping on the Bears. I'm
look.
just saying that's what Gruden's probably thinking.
being a Manhattanite,
That's your version of my days on the beat. Like,
Yeah.
well, in Manhattan, Aaron,
well,
for those of you who live in Queens who may not know.
living in a dense urban environment, I understand when your team should, right? We're talking about the second or third largest city in the
Right.
in the country.
The country, yeah.
And when's the last time the Bears made the playoffs?
Long time ago.
Has it been a
In a
decade?
galaxy far, far away.
Holy shnikes.
I mean, they did go to, with Lovie Smith, they went to a Super Bowl with Rex Grossman at quarterback. That's pretty impressive.
Come on, nobody
Yes.
remembers that.
It was in the rain against Peyton Manning. Of course they remember that.
I don't.
All right.
I've blocked it out.
Of course you have. All right.
What's
okay,
next?
we're getting back. We're back on script back here. Back on script.
Offense.
The offense. Now here's my question, and I know you're going to be able to break it down for me, Mr. Banky. 'cause
I will.
you've really paid attention all offseason.
I actually have.
Okay.
On the offense.
Now here's my question. Yeah, of course. Here's my question. How new is this offensive playbook going to be, really?
I don't think new.
I know they, talked about going back to square one with the playbook and
No.
retooling some things on offense. And Rodgers talked about, the change in some of the protection schemes, etc. But are we really all of a sudden going to see a lot of bunch sets and two tight ends and rub routes, or is it going to be like spread it out, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, everybody try and get open isolation route?
I don't know.
and go?
I think you're going to see. I think you're going to. You actually have blocking tight ends, which is something we haven't had in a while. I think that's kind of the difference. Mercedes Lewis.
Lewis.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
I've
and he
never
can
seen-
catch.
I've
so
never seen a man There was a practice at camp this year where I've never seen a man do what Mercedes Lewis did to Kyler Fackrell in one play from scrimmage where Fackrell, you saw the life kind of just drain, the will drain from his body. Mercedes Lewis looked like a father at a family picnic playing with his son.
Doing this.
Like, pretty much. It was like little Fackrell was coming around the corner. They slid away. Rodgers slid the protection right. Lewis was on the left. And it was like, just don't even worry about your left side. Because everyone's going to slide right, and Lewis is going to obliterate Fackrell. And that's exactly what he did. It was
so to
the
that
kid
point,
trying to do something to his dad.
To that point, you got a guy like that. You got Graham, right?
Well, Graham's going to be a weapon.
You have to put both of them on the field as much as possible.
Kyle Cousineau is here.
Oh, my goodness.
Look
Kyle
at this.
Cousineau
the
showed
mayor
up
is
live?
here. I know.
What is happening right
Kyle
now?
Cousineau.
Kyle Cousineau hasn't tweeted me in like eight years.
Shouldn't Kyle Cousineau be with his young child? I mean, you're shirking your father's responsibilities to come watch this show.
Well, maybe the baby's watching the show.
Well, I hope so. I mean, if you're raising it right, if you're gonna make it a Packer fan from birth.
If you want the baby to cry,
this
though,
show should be
if you want the baby to cry, though, you probably shouldn't watch the show.
Yeah.
I don't think we're that soothing.
No, that's pretty good. People are liking your shade at McGinn, by the way. Very popular on the.
I really don't like Bob McGinn.
We'll get to it. Let's keep trucking.
Actually, there's a lot of people at the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel I don't like.
That's all I hear.
But you know what's great about this show?
What's
and
that?
about Cheesehead TV?
What's that?
Is I'm a fan and I get to just be a fan.
That's right.
I love it.
You do. And you know what's funny? Is I've kind of forgotten how to be.
Do you even know what that's like?
I don't anymore. I gotta admit. Okay, we're off of here, but I gotta admit.
No, we talked about offense. We're gonna get back to
We're
offense.
taking a break.
It'll be fine.
Take a break. I gotta admit, there was a moment. Someone on Twitter asked me, just straight up. This was the tweet. Are you a Packers fan?
Yeah, I saw that.
It was a couple weeks ago.
Sometimes,
and I said it's
complicated. Yeah.
Because at that moment, I was like, I had kind of forgotten how to be a fan. And it's kind of been coming back to me. It's like when Han Solo got unfrozen out of carbonite.
I knew it was going to be a Star Wars.
Of course it was. But Han's kind of, can't see. He's disoriented.
Okay, I'm not Princess Leia in that.
No, I
can
can hope not. Good Lord.
By the way.
No. That was my wife. My wife was Princess Leia. She
held you
woke me
and
up
she was
held me
woke you up. And
someone who loves you and all that. That was
So what you're saying is
away
I'm
from here.
Chewbacca?
Yes, precisely.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, you make the ship fly. Well, it makes sense. So it was kind of like that thing of I've been so programmed, blinders, impartial, I must see
I am a
things how
reporter.
And then I was like, you know what? The Bears still suck. Let's go. And now I'm back. I'm thinking I'm back.
Are you fully back?
I hope so.
Okay, that's nice.
I mean, are you worried I'm a double agent?
No, I just think I actually got to experience your non-fandom, and it was kind of hilarious.
Was it annoying?
I would be in
It was
my
annoying,
house.
wasn't it?
I would be in my house, and we would be watching the game.
Right.
And I would go crazy, and you would actually look at me like I was in the press room with you, and I couldn't scream, I couldn't say anything, and I was like, dude, one, I'm in my house, two, bro, what are you doing?
Okay, I have so many things to talk about now.
Back
All
on
right.
the beat.
Right, wait.
Okay,
yeah,
offense, though. We're
No.
on the second
No. I can't. You kind of brought that up. I can't let that go. Okay, there's two things about that. One, for longtime viewers, you'll notice what Banky just said about we're watching the game, a real game, a regular season game that matters in the standings, together in his house in Green Bay. The game that he is speaking of is being played across the street at Lambeau Field. Now, any longtime viewer of Packer Transplants will remember Corey's many rants about
I go to the game.
about how he goes to the games.
I go to the games.
And you don't know what you're talking about if you don't go to the games, blah, blah. If you watch on TV, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, 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 blah. But I will say now Mr. Banky has become one of us.
I like being in my home sometimes,
Yes.
and I like being at the stadium sometimes.
Okay, and my other thing I wanted...
I do both, though.
I know. You do split it up. But this is the other thing I wanted to mention about what you just said. You're absolutely correct. For those who don't know, when I went to Green Bay, I wouldn't watch the games in the press box. I would watch it at Banky's house because Gannett wanted me to cover not only the game, but also the broadcast. Like if Joe Buck said something or there's something that went viral on off the broadcast, they wanted me to be able to cover it, etc. Which I get. That was part of my gig. But you're right. I would very much be working Like I was zoomed in, and sometimes your family would be there, and I felt rude sometimes because I was always like, "Hey, how are you?" But I would be like completely focused on the game.
You get those Twitter videos
So two years ago, it was the Seattle game where Devontae Adams scored that long touchdown. It was 3rd and short on the opening drive, and Adams burned them up the right sideline. Rodgers finds him, touchdown. I think that was the first game that year that you watched at home. Because it was just you and me. And I was in my thing. I was like, oh, yes, okay, big line. Not a sound escaped me. So I'm like, big touchdown. And literally you from behind me, I had forgotten you were there. And then, because you hadn't said much.
Pretty typical.
You hadn't said much. And then Adam's like, and you like, I won't say it here live, but you swore so loud, like, mother, Seahawks, like, I jumped out of my chair because I forgot you were there. And I was like,
hey, you forgot.
Oh, right. Corey's here. He's a fan. This is what happens.
He's a fan.
This is what happens in football
Look,
games.
See, this is what you got to beat out of these beat writers. They
Yeah.
got a fan.
It's their job.
A fan has showed up.
I know. We'll get there. All right, let's get back to the offense. Here we go.
Okay.
So Adams or Graham? I have this question for you. Everyone's been talking about the addition of Jimmy Graham. You just mentioned him. But, Devontae Adams
What does that
balled
mean?
out last
What does that
year.
mean? Who's going to have more touchdowns?
Who has the bigger year?
That's
Whatever
what
that means to you.
Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams.
What is your thinking behind that selection?
He's a number 1 wide receiver in the NFL.
Cool. Yeah.
And I think he's going to break the top 5 this year.
Yeah.
I think last year he was right at 6
I think
or 7.
he would have been unquestioned in the top 5 last year if he had Rodgers on.
If he had Rodgers, but he was still in like the top
Yeah.
15, I believe.
Yep.
He was in the, and I think he's going to be a top 5 wide receiver this year. I think the way he catches, the things I saw at training camp that I got, the little bit I saw, he's just above and beyond everyone else.
Yep.
He's elevated his game to a level. Like he's like a Michelin star. He's like a 3 Michelin star right now. I think this year he has this, the way he like lifts, like at the last minute, like,
I love that.
it's so amazing.
Jennings used to do that. That when you're running down and
They don't even know when you're
don't
going to
let
catch
the
it.
D-
You're just
you
like,
don't let the
whoop, going
DB
to
know
catch it
where
right
the
now.
ball is, and you put your hands up the last second.
Love that. I think Jimmy Graham early on is going to have a huge year, and he's probably going to have a really big year. But if you say who's 1, who's 2, I think that's the way it goes. Now, I think it's going to be really close.
Yeah, I feel that. I think Graham's going to be a monster.
Graham is going to be a monster
he's
on
gonna
this
be a
team. He's
monster.
so big.
With Rodgers, like
It's ridiculous.
It's
he's going to be Jordy Nelson on steroids in terms of like how much Rodgers throws to him.
I tell you what, I think Seahawks fans are going to be pissed watching Jimmy Graham this year because they're going to be like, where was this guy? Because he wasn't used right.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's
Okay.
a little on the offense. Let's switch over to the defensive side of the ball. Mike Pettin, I love this hire. We know Dom Capers was held on for too long by Mike McCarthy. I don't think there's any question
Everything was kind of too long. If you look at
there.
2015
Ted
to
Thompson,
now, it's like we waited 3 years
Dom
to get rid of Ted
Capers.
Thompson. We waited 2 years to get rid of Dom Capers.
Right.
How many articles did I read where it was like Dom Capers, his defense is totally like? There was a thing that happened last year that kind of opened everybody's eyes, my eyes especially. I'm sure a lot of people already said this,
Right.
where I saw this. I can't remember what it was. It was maybe on Bleacher Report. Someone was talking about how Dom Capers' actual defense,
Yeah.
because of where offenses are in the modern era,
Right.
was actually feeding
right.
the offense.
Yep, I saw
So
that.
his defense had no chance in
Yeah.
its philosophy.
Especially with the newer offensive coordinators who grew up basically watching that defense and playing with coaches who coach that scheme. So you're right. You're absolutely right. I think Mike Pettin was an awesome hire. I said it. I went on Facebook Live the night the news broke and said I thought this was going to be basically the acquisition / move of the offseason. And nothing happened or transpired throughout the offseason to change my mind. I think Pettin is going to make a world of difference. I'm very interested to see how he schemes up pressure, because he's going to have to.
Yeah.
The days of Clay Matthews being a pass rushing terror are over, but I do think he can still be effective. I do think Nick Perry can still be effective. We know that it's only a matter of time before one or both of them are injured, and then you're stuck with Reggie Gilbert, who I really love. His upside is great, and Kyler Fackrell, who is Kyler Fackrell.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be, and there was some stuff we saw this summer on the practice field that really didn't get written about a lot because you only saw like 2 or 3 snaps of it, but like 4-man lines with only 2 linebackers and things of that nature, where I think you're going to see a lot of mixing and matching. And, Rodgers mentioned it, a lot of free rushers. Pettin is the master at getting guys free at the quarterback. Now, in today's NFL, quarterbacks get the ball out of their hands so quickly.
Yeah.
It's your getting home rate is not going to be even close to even 70%. But I do think you're going to see more quarterback pressures, more disruption from this defense, and I'm really interested to see how Pettin schemes it up.
Well, one of my favorite videos of the offseason that I did watch was Tramon Williams. And it was early on. I think it was like I retweeted it. It was one of the few Packers.com videos I retweeted because it was a really amazing video. And he talks about, how, because he has a lot of experience in this defense.
Right.
He talked about how it's a freeing defense and how it allows you to just not have to think. And, it's one of the biggest things, I think, in all that goes across all industries, where the less you have to think and the more that you can let your talent, right, the more I can get out of my head and I don't have to think about all the things.
We used to talk about at school.
Get out of your head.
Learning,
just do
training
it.
to be
right?
actors.
And so the more these guys can just do it and they don't have to think, what's my coverage? What's my second? What's my thing? Yeah. And I just feel like Dom Capers' defense, whatever it was very cerebral and it never really gelled. Packer Fan Fest, it gelled and there were turnovers, but the problem with that defense, and this is pretty much every defense in the NFL except for 3. Every year there's 3 and they spend a lot of money on their defense usually.
Yep.
There's whoever has the turnover ratio. It was when the greatest show on turf, right? They had the highest turnover differential. 97, 96, we had the highest turnover differential.
And McCarthy preaches that every year.
It's the biggest thing on a defense.
When they went 4-6 and then ran the table, the biggest thing that changed, and everyone talks about Aaron Rodgers, Ty Montgomery, Jared Cook, but the biggest thing that changed was turnover differential. All of a sudden, they went from -6, 7 to +10.
Yeah, if you can get anywhere near plus double digits, even +8, +9, you are loving life.
Yes.
You're winning games.
Yep, no doubt. The other thing about the defense I wanted to touch on real quick was inside linebacker, because it's such an interesting position to me because they've clearly devalued it throughout Ted Thompson's tenure. And, you can't realistically say that you've seen Brian Gutekunst turn around and go, all of a sudden, we need a stud inside linebacker. But, the addition of Oren Burks, I think he looks like a player. Now, we got to see what he looks like coming off the shoulder injury. I mean, who gets injured in freaking pregame warmups? Oh, my gosh.
Who gets injured doing a somersault in the touchdown?
All right, you're going back to Kumaro now. Just relax. Okay, let's go. Let's talk about it.
No, I don't need to talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Let's do it.
Well, how does that happen? How
You're a Green Bay Packer.
How are you trying to make the team and you do a somersault and you get injured?
God forbid.
That's like some stuff I would do.
God forbid the guy has a little
That's
fun.
some shit I would do. I would seriously do that. I would be like,
you
I'm
would.
so excited to be here. That happens to me in Green Bay sometimes when I was drinking. I would get to Wisconsin when this happened to me so I guess I kind of know. It's like I would get to Wisconsin, right? And you get there on a Friday and it's about to be game day, right? It's going to happen in 2 days. And now I'm like older and wiser, which is not saying a lot.
No.
So I get there and I'd be like, oh man, I'm in Wisconsin. Let me get some cheese curds. Let me get some beer. Got my fridge. I'm drinking. I'm just like, oh yeah. And all of a sudden I'm throwing up old fashions, right? I'm waking up at 4 a.m. and old fashions are coming out of my body. And I'm like, why is it purple?
You did stain that carpet pretty badly.
I had to get rid of my Packers carpet because of that. It was ridiculous.
I know.
So, okay, Kumaro, I'm sorry. I didn't understand. Now I understand.
Now you get it. Now you see.
A little excited.
He was a little excited. He just took the ball, he goes 80 yards to the house, and he's got 2 guys right on his tail. That's the other thing. If you really go back and look at that play, yes, is it unnecessary? Probably. But there's a dude closing on him who's about to be ready to hit him as he's about to cross the goal line. He wants to make sure he gets in the end zone. Now, should he have just extended the ball? Yeah. Of course. But have fun. Jesus, in the end zone. It's a preseason, whatever. He did a Lambeau leap afterwards. It's like, okay, fine. He's having a good time.
Well, if somebody gets injured on a Lambeau leap, that's a little different than a somersault.
No, I know.
Personally.
And then that's the other thing. Oh, Kumaro is so stupid. Oh, you really cost the team. Jake Kumaro wasn't going to be like the number 1 option on any passing play. No. From September through November. So just relax, people. Relax on the Kumaro hate. Is all I'm saying. So yeah, inside linebacker, I'm interested to see obviously Blake Martinez is going to be all about it. Mr. tying for, most tackles in the league last year. Got to think how it's going to play out. Oren Burks, if he's healthy. So someone in the control room is a little early.
Somebody's like, hey, we got to get to this other part.
They're really bored. They're really bored.
They're like, what?
They're
They're like,
bored.
this is the most boring thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, these poor kids.
The only good thing about it is
poor
they're getting
kids.
paid to do it right now.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's the crazy part.
That's crazy. People are getting paid to produce this show.
That's those poor children. That's all I can say. But yeah, inside linebacker, I think it's going to be probably Morrison early on, rundowns, and then Burks and passing downs. It really depends on Burks' shoulder.
Okay, so what is the inside track on a first round, on a first time rookie linebacker though? I understand wide receivers, but like how, I guess Clay Matthews, his first year was right out of the gate.
But he was special, and it showed up, especially in the second week of his rookie year. He had 3 sacks against Buffalo. Like you saw.
Oren Burks had that penetration play in the second game. He had some
Pittsburgh,
really cool.
Absolutely.
He had some really good plays.
It's funny because I think Jake Ryan's injury obviously hurried his, his track, so to speak. They got him on the field a lot more. He played a lot more with the ones. Then he hurt himself in pregame warmups. But yeah, they look like they absolutely looks like they have a player, and he's played pretty much to his scouting report. Like he's good in space. Yeah, he's a pretty decent coverage guy. He struggles to get off blocks when those big guards, tackles, even centers get up on him. He has a problem disengaging from blocks, and that's something we heard practice after practice after practice is him getting yelled at. Get off that block! Get off that block! Like you heard it every day. So, and he did seem to improve a little bit as the preseason wore on, those first 2 games, but then he got hurt. So we'll see, and that's something the Bears will be targeting. There's no doubt about it. If he is on the field, you can bet guys will be going after his shoulder.
Yeah.
There's zero doubt of that.
Yeah.
Real quickly, before we get to Blogosphere, we got special teams, because special teams is a third of the game, Banky.
What happened?
The Packers actually have a punter?
Oh my
What
goodness.
is happening?
This was literally the most depressing part of offseason. Okay?
Was when they drafted a punter?
Yeah, drafting a punter. Okay, first off, okay, Vince
Right,
Lombardi, meanwhile, is
Right.
like rolling over in his grave.
Just
okay?
relax. Hey, if Lombardi saw this kid's leg, he would not be rolling.
He would not be drafting him. Okay, that's not what you do in the draft. Okay.
Yeah.
Second of all,
Right.
okay, if I see one more freaking tweet
Oh no.
from Rob Domofsky,
Oh,
or
no.
Wes Hodkiewicz,
Oh, no.
or Jason Wilde over their shoulder, what was the time on that, guys? Oh my dear Lord, what is going on in the world?
You know what? Is it so hard just to scroll past it? Is it really that difficult? Just like, okay, there's a bunch of guys tweeting about the punting, and you just scroll.
Yeah,
And it's
why
done.
are we tweeting about punting?
Why do you care what they're tweeting? Just
Why-
scroll past it.
Why are we tweeting about punting?
We aren't. They are.
You were tweeting about punting?
Well, punting, I never, ever in a million years have ever put up on my Twitter account the hang time of a practice punt. I have tweeted out the hang time in a preseason game punt and a regular season game punt, even playoff game punt. But never in my history of my life have I ever put up the hang time of a practice punt.
Okay, and
Ever.
here's the other
Ever.
thing.
You know why? You know
Why?
why? Because when you're on the sideline there's 20 other dudes who are
Doing it.
all
Yeah.
putting it up.
But
So
here-
I'm thinking of you, Banky.
Okay.
I'm thinking, you know what Banky doesn't need right now? Is another tweet with the hang time of that
Yeah, so I
practice
can do a screenshot of 6 of them.
Six.
So here's the thing, the other thing, okay? And I think this happened in the Steelers game
Right.
where he didn't make the tackle. He makes I tweeted I actually put out the
I
video.
guess, you mean on a return?
Yeah, it was on a
Right,
return.
right.
They return the ball. He basically like gets in the way,
Right.
but he doesn't,
doesn't
go
wrap
for the
up and
tackle.
go for the
okay?
tackle, right.
And everybody, and then some people.
Oh, no.
Where is he from? What college? Mississippi?
Oh, no, Alabama.
Okay, all these Alabama people.
Mississippi, same thing.
Same crappy state. Okay, so all these people.
Now letters to
actually,
Banky, not to me.
Nobody's writing letters anymore. Jesus. Okay, look. Actually, Mississippi and Alabama are like in the bottom.
They're writing letters.
They're in the bottom of all the 50 states. Like there's like a bunch of rankings.
Whatever.
Okay, so anyway,
All right.
all these Alabama people are like, he did what he was paid to do. I'm like, no. In the NFL, there's 11 freaking guys on the side. Okay, you're
right,
in
right.
the field of play. You tackle the guy. That guy, if he doesn't tackle people, there's going to be hell to pay on the Green Bay Packers. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Love that.
If somebody
They
runs,
finally get a guy. They finally get a guy who can flip field position.
Oh
and
my
Banky's
goodness.
worried about his
Oh my
tackling.
goodness. Yeah. What good is hang time if they run it back because the puncher's
But they
too scared
won't
to tackle?
because it's so high and so far
Oh
that
my
the coverage gets
Lord.
down there, and the dude either fair catches it or he gets cremated.
Look,
before he ever gets to the punter.
I'm all about being nerdy about football.
Right.
That is the nerdiest. Okay? Wes Hod, I'm talking to you, buddy. Talking to you, buddy. I know you're watching the show. I know you couldn't miss it.
Oh God.
Talking to you. This is a little different than, speaking of Wes Hodkiewicz.
God, oh God.
Seriously.
Oh no.
He is amazing.
He is. It's
Dude,
true.
everything they're doing right now,
Yes.
the 1 minute, all the stuff that Packers.com is doing, I really love it.
Okay, I'll just say,
I
though,
really love it.
interesting to
I
see-
love the videos.
I'll just say, interesting to see. I left the beat doing my Facebook Lives, and all of a sudden, Wes Hodkiewicz is doing Facebook Lives on Packers.com.
Somebody's got to fill that hole.
It's curious timing to me.
Yeah,
it's
but
kind of funny.
His 1 minute,
It's great.
The
It's
1
great.
minute,
The kid who cuts those
it's
is
amazing.
freaking
Yeah,
awesome.
dude. He literally has a
So
team
good.
of like 100 people making a 1 minute video.
He has a guy.
He has more than one guy.
He has one dude.
All those people are shooting all the video.
I know, but there's that one kid who does all the
Come
hype
on.
stuff. He's great.
All right, one more thing before Bogosphere. And then
All right, Trevor Davis rides again. How is this? Okay. Trevor Davis, really?
Kyler Fackrell, really? Kyler Fackrell, really?
Kyler Fackrell I gave up on. I gave up on Kyler Fackrell. I heard Tom Silverstein defending Kyler Fackrell. Give me a break.
How do you defend Kyler Fackrell?
Kyler Fackrell is Kyler Fackrell, people. I'm so over
I don't understand.
it.
How is
over
Kyler Fackrell still on the team?
I don't know. I honestly
No one
don't know.
beat Kyler
Okay,
Fackrell? No one.
Here's what's sad. Not really.
Ugh,
But here's the thing.
dear.
Here's the thing with Kyler Fackrell.
Hurting me.
I love that we start with Trevor Davis and we went right to Kyler Fackrell.
Well, you were like, how is
I
this
know,
guy on the
I don't
team?
know. Okay, but here's my thing.
He's the how is
I
guy
know.
on the
I know,
team.
both of them. They both are. All right, but here's the thing with Kyler Fackrell. All right, it's all about athletic upside. That's all they're looking at. They love. That's the whole reason they drafted him in the third round, even though they never should have. They drafted him in the third round because he has the measurables. It's all about the measurables. And we're what, 3-4 years in now? Well, this will be, I don't know how I turned into an 80-year-old man, but this will be the year that Kyler Fackrell's measurables actually merit his play, getting on the field, the number of snaps he gets per game. This is good. It's going to happen this year.
You should use that voice when you talk
never.
about being a beat writer.
Ever.
Because that's literally what
Ever.
when people say beat writer,
If Kyler
what I think
Fackrell
of.
has a sack on Sunday night, it's because it fell into his lap.
exactly.
All right?
Yeah. He did have a good play last
All
year.
right.
Last year he had a good play.
He had two.
Yeah.
Or three.
I can't
maybe.
remember the second one, but
Two
I
of them
remember
fell
one.
into his lap. He had my favorite. My favorite this preseason was Fackrell literally had a play that was so bad and so embarrassing that Brian Gutekunst mentioned it in his press conference
Yikes.
the next week, where he said, "Yeah, we think Fackrell's done some. I mean, that one play notwithstanding, blah blah blah." Like he literally knew that everyone in that room was like. Yeah, there was the play where he tried to do a spin move inside and tripped over the dude and gave up the outside contain, and homeboy went for
Otherwise,
20
he
yards.
was fine.
But other than that, he's fine. That's how bad Fackrell is. His bad plays are so memorable that everybody knows exactly what you're talking about when you go, other than that one play. I mean, come on. That's like him being thrown around like a rag doll in Washington a couple years ago when he ran on late and then he tried to rush the passer and the right tackle just literally throws him to the ground like a doll. Come on.
Well, and while we're okay,
I'm so over Kyler Fackrell.
Okay, so back to Trevor Davis.
Yeah.
The other thing I don't understand is don't guys that are trying to make the team, especially wide receivers, so like your draft picks and some of your younger guys, don't they understand that the way to make the team is to get on special teams?
Yeah, no, they know. That's drilled into their heads. They know
So
that.
why don't more of them? I feel like
Well, they don't-
I feel like there's guys that just don't.
The problem, but that's where you're right, because like Crawford is a perfect example. He's a guy who is an absolute unleashed animal when he's on teams, right? He's one of those guys who goes down there, he's a Tasmanian devil, he's a junkyard dog, whatever you want to call him. He goes down there and he's ready to destroy people. He has no regard for human life. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Whereas you look at an Ahmad Thomas or Greer Martini, these guys that they let go. And people are
Greer
like,
Martini,
I
that's
know.
such a
He's on the
great
practice
name.
squad now.
Such a great name.
But people are like, well, why did they let them go? It's because they're not going to play from scrimmage, and they're not junkyard dogs on teams.
Yeah.
You gotta be.
You gotta
a
make
madman.
special teams. You gotta make
gotta
special
be a madman,
Yeah.
and you gotta people up on special teams.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how you make the
That's
team.
a good point.
As an undrafted guy coming in late, you destroy people. That's how you get, because the coaches go back and watch the tape and go, oh, look at Crawford there. he's destroying people. Oh, look at Ahmad Thomas. He's just kind of taking on a block, not really shedding it. Like, that's the difference. That is it, especially when you're talking that low level on the roster. All right, let's do it, control room.
Let's
it is
go.
time. I'm out of beer. This is unfortunate.
They're not going to play.
They're not even.
There you go.
Hang a second.
This week in the Packer blogosphere.
That's right. It's the return of that venerable series.
Great.
This week in the Packer blogosphere. What's going on, Corey Banky?
What's up?
What's happening in the Packer blogosphere?
Blogosphere.
Woo!
There literally is not a nerdier word than blogosphere.
I don't think there is.
I really don't think. I love it.
I highly doubt
It's
it.
just like,
So this week in the Packer blogosphere, as we often do when we think we're the news, we're the news.
the return.
The return.
The return of the prodigal son.
Well, I don't know about that, but I am back from the beat. Packer Transplants is back.
Oh, no.
We're here to wreck stuff, people.
Yeah.
We are here.
We already broke this show.
Yeah, a couple
before we
times.
started.
A couple times. Move fast and break things. That's my
That's
motto.
right. Just like Jeff Bezos.
So I just wanted to take a second to tell my story of my first day on the beat.
Oh,
this is my
dear.
first day
Oh man.
on the beat. I want everyone. Can I address the camera here for
Yes.
a second? Can I talk to the?
I'll get out of your way.
I want you to think of a young man who, since the age of 3, has only dreamt of being involved in some way with the Green Bay Packers on a day in, day out existence, where his life was given meaning and hope by the ability to enter Lambeau Field as a professional and cover the team of his youth, the place where dreams could come true. I want you to have that in the back of your mind as I tell Corey this story. Because let me tell you, people, that's what was happening inside of me as this unfolded. All right, so my first day on the beat. I fly into Wisconsin the night before, 5 o'clock, whatever. Say hi to my folks. I'm all excited. Got this new job.
Like the first day of school.
I'm really nervous, really excited. I knew there was a little tension. I knew some people weren't very happy with my hire. But, I'm a professional. I've covered the NFL for a number of years for Sports Illustrated, Bleacher Report. I feel I've not proven myself, but I've at least kind of shown that I can go into a press box as a professional and not bring shame upon the organization I'm representing. At least, equip myself as a professional.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. Young man, full of hopes and aspirations. I wake up the next day. It was the first day of camp. And I get in the car. I'm in Appleton. Drive up 41. I'm listening to Depeche Mode. Windows are down. I'm so happy, Corey. I'm so happy. Now, I knew the first thing I had to do was have a meeting with the publisher and the sports editor for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Because they weren't happy with my hire.
Really?
They were not happy that a blogger was coming on board. But, hey, I get it. It's a changing world. Newspaper people probably, not loving this idea of, a blogger, some guy from the internet coming in. I get it.
Yeah, it's okay to
Especially
hire a
since-
journalist out of college, but
Yeah, because, Gannett has, folded in Green Bay Press Gazette and Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, and at the time, the man who hired me, the man who spearheaded my hire, Joel Christopher, was kind of the head of Gannett in Wisconsin. And hey, shout out to Joel, visionary. Man who really thought outside the box until he moved on and left me in the lurch. But, so I'm driving up, I'm so excited, right? And I gotta go to this meeting first. We have a meeting with me, the publisher of the Milwaukee Journal, the publisher of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel,
the paper of record of Wisconsin.
I guess, and the sports editor. Because they know that there are a couple guys on the beat who aren't too happy about my hire either. One in particular.
Wonder who that was.
So I go in and we meet at a cafe and we talk about, our history, the past, the fact that you rip them every chance you get, the fact that I
rip everyone, by the way.
I know. So the fact that I had been critical of their coverage of the Troy Guion incident and their coverage of it, and everybody who's been, there's water on the bridge a long time ago, whatever. But I get their upset, I get their touchy, so I talk to them. We're fine, pretty much. I leave that meeting, the pre-meeting, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm like, all right, I get they're sensitive. So we go to the offices of the Green Bay Press Gazette, and I walk in. It's a big conference room.
The heralded offices.
The heralded offices. Yes.
Where the Green Bay Packers actually.
Oh, no. This is a different one.
The white building.
They've moved.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so I go in there. It's a big conference room, huge round kind of table, and and everyone shows up. The beat shows up. It's the aforementioned Joel Christopher.
PackersNews.com.
At PackersNews.com, everyone's there.
Everybody.
From the Green Bay side, Milwaukee side, editors, writers, everybody.
It's like you're at a Narcotics Anonymous meeting and you're in a circle.
Something like that.
Okay.
So we go in and I'm like, all right, I know these guys are upset. I totally get it. It's a new world, but I'm gonna win them over, right? I'm a professional, and I expect that I'm dealing with professionals. But you know what, Corey? I wasn't. Not the whole room. There were a number of children in attendance that afternoon, or that morning, I should say. So I go in, and there's this big round table, and I'm like, okay, this feels a little kind of, and I sit down, and people start to filter in. I'm the first one there. And all these other people get higher and higher, and people are kind of friendly, kind of standoffish.
They know who you are.
They know who I am, whatever. So we all sit down, and the meeting starts. And it is basically, and I'm not exaggerating, a 2+ hour roast fest of Aaron Nagler. There were so many times in the meeting where I was like, do you guys know I'm here? I mean, and the ringleader was Bob McGinn. Bob was so pissed that I was hired. And let me just say, all right, I've respected the hell out of Bob McGinn. You got me in hot water with him because of something you said on this show.
On an entertainment show.
On an entertainment show. You gave your opinion, but the big mistake, apparently, was that when you went on this rant about Bob McGinn.
Who is senile. I called Bob McGinn senile.
And he's not, but
and he is.
That's what you say.
He is.
He is not.
Okay.
But
he is.
So at the end of your rant, I said something akin, I can't remember the exact quote. This is years ago. This is years before this
that's
meeting.
What's so crazy. On an internet show. You
on
said
an internet
this on
show
an internet
that no one watched.
Yeah.
I said, I think you pretty much said all that needs to be said, Corey. Or something like that. I didn't take you to task hard enough, apparently.
Yeah, you didn't agree with me.
For Bob's liking. So Bob spends hours, and that's not an exaggeration, hours talking about what a mistake it is that they hired me. He literally says at one point, you could hire any kid out of college to do what he's doing.
Wow. Which is not true, by the way. FYI.
That was the moment. When he said that I lost all respect for him.
There's literally no one who has ever been on Twitter who's a Packers fan who feels like they could do what you do. Well,
it's
including
just,
myself.
It's just to be so dismissive of a guy that I looked up to.
Yeah.
That I was so, I was so in awe.
I mean, this show, we hero worshipped him.
For years.
For years. The only time.
For years.
And honestly, the reason that I called him senile, and it is because of the Fail Mary.
He's not senile, by the way.
It is because of the Fail Mary, okay? And I'm sorry, but there is no Packer fan, no one who can look at the tape of the Fail Mary and tell me that the referee made the right decision.
Right.
Okay? But Bob McGinn has gone on many of a rant and said that is the case. Okay?
Right. So you disagree with him?
I disagree vehemently.
Yes.
I disagree so.
And you're allowed to.
I disagree so vehemently that I am willing to call him names because he is very not appropriate with his response.
So, you have a strong feeling about, I could care less about his Lance Easley take. Like nothing.
Yeah.
But I was the one in the room for 2+ hours hearing about what an idiot I was because of something you said. That was the crazy part. That was like the whole time I was at, and to this day, when I left the beat, I'm not going to mention who it was, but someone said, I still think you in that meeting is the most impressive thing I've ever seen. Because I just literally sat there and didn't respond. I just listened. And I just said, okay, all right. And I had the thing was, I started the meeting by saying, the night before, John Oliver had done this huge piece on Last Week Tonight about newspapers and about the changing landscape and about how these guys are asked to do so much now that they weren't before. And I led with, I'm here to help you. All this video, all this social, all this crap you don't want to do, I'm here to take that off your plate. The whole reason I've been hired. And then Bob proceeds to just destroy me for 2 hours. You know, and here's the thing. It'd be one thing if I thought, like years on now, this was years ago that this meeting happened. But like, it'd be one thing I would sit here and I'd take it and I would even like kind of look back and think, oh, I understand where Bob is coming from. But I know so much shit about that guy now that I didn't know before that I find it laughable that he could sit there and say the shit he said about me. I mean, this is a guy who writes personal crap that has nothing to do with football. He wrote about Andrew Quarles's stillborn baby in Andrew Quarles's year-end grade.
It's ridiculous.
What the hell does that have to do with football, Bob? I mean, that's the kind of crap. It got so bad with Bob and the Packers. The Packers went to Milwaukee. Mark Murphy went to Milwaukee to talk to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel and say, what are you going to do about this guy? And these Milwaukeeans, who we're not done with them yet, Corey, because we got something else to talk about when it comes to Milwaukee. They were like, oh no, we know. Have you tried talking to Bob? I mean, come on. So, you know, fine. Bob hates my guts, fine. Great. Right back at you, Bob. You were a hero. You revealed your true self. You're dead to me. Oh, by the way, how's blogger life?
All right.
That's it. That's what I got.
I loved it.
Man.
I loved every minute of it. So I'm going to close the show.
Yeah? Is it time? You don't want to
No,
say your
we'll
piece?
save that.
You're going to save that?
We'll save it.
All right, that sounds good.
I think we're gonna trim that and put that out every week. So well, that'll do it for this week's episode of Packer Transplants. We'd like to thank everyone who connect with us all across the internet, be it here at She Said TV or on any social channels. You guys really help make this a unique fan experience. And I want to give a shout out. We got a new Patreon.
Yes.
So you can actually support this show.
1,000,000%.
Trust me, it's expensive. We love it, but you can support it. We've got our Patreon. You'll see in the credits, we put everybody
who's contributed to the Patreon, you are in the credits.
We're gonna do a special Patreon extended interviews when we have guests on, although after this rant, we probably won't have any more guests. So, good times. And, but anyway, that's why Aaron and I are here. We are, and always devoted to the Green Bay Packers and Green Bay Packer fans worldwide.
Worldwide. Thanks a lot, guys. Well, I guess we'll see you next week, because nobody can shut us down.
That's right. It's the internet.
Is there any positive in terms of motivation for your guys, how ticked off they are about how this played out? Any of that can be used in any positive way whatsoever?
I'm not in the mood for drama tonight, Jason. Okay? I appreciate that.
What do you think you told the critics tonight?